All right, let's start today. Good morning, everyone. We'll start with going over quizzes and homework and making sure you know how to prepare for your second midterm on Friday. And then we'll be able to sing a bit and play piano at the end of class. So that's the plan for today. The quizzes from last week are out of 20. Those are pretty good. And then we also have homework, which as usual is out of 100. So Lauren, it's not here. Bridget. And there you go. Christine. Kurt. Okay. Alex. Nakuni. Oh, sorry. Cameron. Welcome. Good. And Wendy. You're welcome. Josh. There you go. And Adriana. Kyle is sick. So, I'll give you a minute to look at those and answer a few questions, probably not all of them. Bless you. Okay, so any questions to start off with? On the homework? For your second midterm then, I've seen it, so it's pretty much the homework since the last midterm, except there is one question verbatim from the first midterm. So she really wants you to look closely at that and make sure you understand it. So one of those things will be exactly the same. Not just the same concept, the same exact question. So make sure you look at that midterm. And if there's anything you don't understand, come to my office hours. Another note, I'm going to hand out some scales, and if you want to practice piano, Chris will have his office hour here tomorrow from 3 to 5. Mine are as usual Thursday 2 to 4, but his are in here tomorrow. So even if you just want to come practice for a little bit, this room will be open tomorrow, Wednesday, from 3 to 5, which is nice of him. So all the major and minor key signatures and scales, those will be on Friday's test. The intervals, the triads, including the guitar core symbols, and a little bit of analysis, which is similar to stuff we've been doing in here. So, any questions, or should I? Anything first from the homework that you'd ask? It's a little bit longer, especially since one of the questions is a total repeat, but similar style. Mostly similar to the homework one, put it in your own words, like tell me why type of thing, describing it. Let's talk about the scale, because I want to make sure with the minor triads you know the scale degree names as well as the scale itself. Now I think about half, maybe 2/3 in your homework put the scale degree, number 1 with the caret on top. If you do, and sometimes it asks for that, sometimes it says you could do that or solfege. So if you're doing minor solfege, and it was a minor scale, you would go do, re, mi. But if you're doing scale degrees, you want to make sure you have that flat third. Same with the 6 and 7. If they're affected, it would be a modal, those modal scale degrees. You would want to have them flat. And remember, that is a theoretical flat. It wouldn't necessarily be a flat. Let's go over this scale together and make a B major scale first. So what flats would we, or sharps would we have? C sharp, D sharp, F sharp. Okay. Also worth writing down, something you should know, are the names of the scale degrees besides the numbers. One is the tonic. So if you don't know these, I would write them down and make sure you know them. One is going to be the tonic. Do you remember what 2 is? Supertonic, right above the tonic. Pardon? It's the mediant. So tonic, supertonic, mediant, that's 3. Pardon? Almost 5, scale degree 5, is the dominant. That's besides the tonic. I know I've said tonic a lot, but the dominant for 5 is very common. Dominant. Number 4 is related. That's the subdominant. So yeah. And I heard someone say submediant before. Number 3 is the mediant, but number 6 would be the submediant. Here. In this case, yes, LT for leading tone. If you remember, and then back to the tonic. If you remember, it was a few weeks ago, but Claire did talk about this. That's the one that does change. So this is a major scale. Let's say them together. Tonic, supertonic, mediant. And that was that tendency tone. It always goes back up. So in the major scale or a harmonic minor scale, it would be this leading tone up to the tonic. Let's make this now a minor scale. So we already talked about a flat 3. But remember, she said it's theoretical because it's lowered, not necessarily flat. So that, we just make it a natural. Now if you put a chromatic thing in parentheses, it's just being nice. It's a courtesy accidental. Because without a natural sign, it would be natural, right? But I like to do that on all modal scale degrees, so it's clear. You know it's not sharp. You know it would be sharp in major, but now it's natural. So that's a courtesy accidental. Very useful. So 3. If it would be a, let's just do the natural minor. Pardon? G and the A. So we have flat 6, that courtesy. Flat 7, but since this is now a whole step, it's not a leading tone anymore. Does anyone remember the alternate version for this? It's a subtonic. Right below the tonic. So all are the same except for the lowered scale degree 7 is a subtonic. Those are important things to know Make sure you remember those. Other than that, let's just review triads really quickly. So we have, let's make these flats. Let's make this A flat major triad. We'll have major here. If we wanted to do A flat augmented, what would we do? Take the flat off the E. Some people were kind of thinking that if it's augmented, I just put a sharp on the top note, or I put a flat on the top note if it's diminished. That's not always the case. If you have something like this where it's already flat, you do raise it a half step, but if it's already flat, then it would be natural. So yeah, that is your augmented. And then let's make this a minor. Go from major to minor. What do? You lower the third. So if we then wanted to make it a diminished, how's that related to the minor? Double flat. You look at, there's 3 different ways to figure out the chords, so there was the way you look at how it fits to the scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. Or you look at the interval content. So this is diminished because it has a minor third and then another minor third on top. So that's the interval content of it. I'll play these. I'll start with the major. Here's this augmented with that raised fifth. Back to major. Here's the minor. And now here's this diminished. It's a very unique sound. To me it kind of sounds like a railroad choo-choo train. Almost. So, let's listen to some of these and figure them out with your ear. I'd like you to hold up 1 finger if it's major, 2 if it's minor, all fingers if it's augmented, and then 0 if it's diminished. So we'll start right there again. What do you think this is? Major, minor, diminished, or augmented? Those of you who have your fingers up, if you're not sure, put your thumb up. More than half of you guessed minor, and that is correct. If you guessed diminished, you're close, because you do have that minor third on the bottom, and that's what you're hearing. How about this one? That's a major, ba-da-da, do, mi, so. Augmented, or I'll play you another one that you can listen to. So here's the first one. First one is minor, and the second one is diminished. So you can hear how those are. There is the third method of figuring these out, and that's just knowing the white scales, the white key scales. So you know that if you know your keyboard really well, you can see that a triad built on C, a triad built on F, and G are major triads. So if you have an F flat, you know that you would also need an A flat and a C flat to make a major triad. Does anyone use that method? Do you guys normally use the major scale to figure that out? I think that's mostly what I use. But the interval content is also a good method too, if you're good with your major and minor thirds. And I would say, even if you're using the scale method, if you want to make a 7th chord, just use your major scale, find that, and add a minor third on top, which will be that, and that will give you a dominant 7th chord. A minor third from the 5th. Also good to review what the names of these notes. This would be the root, and then the third, and then the 5th. So to make it a 7th, you go a minor third up from the 5th, which is now the 7th. And as we said, that normally happens on the dominant. So normally This looks like that. You have a big 5 and then 7. Dominant 7, it's a 5-7 chord. So you're in the key of, say, C. Here's C. It resolves back to the tonic. Tonic, dominant 7, tonic. Inversions, too. You had a question before about 6-5, 6-3. That's not in the midterm, but what you do need to know are these guitar chords, which is good. Has anyone seen a fake book? Yeah? They're fun. You can get them with all different types of music. Christmas fake books, church fake books, Beatles fake books. Basically, it's just a melody line and guitar chord symbols. Or if you don't want to buy a book, you just go online and type your favorite song chords. You'll find these chords. They often have a 7. Now you know what that 7 means. This is dominant 7 chord. But often they show you what the inversion is. So this would just be C, right? And does that mean major or minor? Major. It would have a little m if it was minor. This, we would say C, but what's in the bass? The third of a chord, which is an E, so you say C over E. And likewise, this would be C over G. That was the second inversion. So that type of guitar chord symbols are very common. And they're easy, I think. And so it's good that you are required to know these because you will see them. Now, if you really want to find the chords of your favorite song, you could look them up online and say, oh, I know what this is. You know, if it's got a little C plus, what does that mean? That means augmented. And if you had diminished, so that would be there. So any questions on triads, intervals, inversions, any of that stuff? You're all ready for Friday? Feel free to come Thursday if you do have more questions. Let's then make some music. Let's pull out the things I handed out. Let's sing first. We did discuss everything with the other TAs. What we're going to do in the future for the musicianship final here, I've been doing ta, ta, ta for counting syllables for your instrument. But she would like everyone to do the counting syllables for your musicianship final. So I know that a lot of you are just reading the solfege syllables at this point. That'll help you learn the scale. Try and look more at the notes, because for the final you won't have the solfege syllables there. It'll be just the notes. Let's try that with melody number 4. We'll do this twice. So the second time through, I want you to really focus on just the notes and not looking at the helpful solfege syllables on the bottom. If you want to refer to that the first time, I understand. We're going to, which key is this melody number 4 in? I know why you said C, there's no accidentals, but it is an A minor, which is the parallel or relative? Relative, right? That all makes sense to you for Friday? Well, let's talk about that. He said C first, because he said, are there any sharps and flats? No, you can guess C. And if it was in the key of C, there would be also no sharps and A flats. But it could be A minor as well. So how would you figure it out? What's the starting note? A. That's a good clue, but not always 100%. So you also check the final note. That's an A. You look at the first 3 notes. What are they? A, C, E, which is do, me, so. Those are really common, important notes. Pardon? Melody 4. Well, now it makes sense. But it was a very good question. That's the type of analysis stuff you would need to know, what key it's in. So when you look at a piece, you should figure out, the time signature, what key it's in, how fast or slow you want to play it. So let's try melody 4 together. I'll play you an A minor. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 2, la, li. Do, me, sol, me, fa, me, re, do. Me, fa, me, re, fa, sol. to try it without referring to the solfege syllables? Just look at these notes. Try it that way. A little slower. 1, la, li, 2, la, li. Do, re, sol, mi, fa, mi, re, do. Sol, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do. So, do. How'd that go? Okay, very good. Let's also do some in major on page 199. And these, do you see solfege syllables here? Page 199? No. All right. So let's look at melody number 2. What key would this be in? D, yes. How do we figure that out? Does it start in a D? No. But it starts on what would be the sol. So, do. You can look at the key signature. So it could be either D major or which minor? B. So think circle of fifths or however helps you think that. And we've confirmed it is D major. So we said it starts sol, do. Look at the second measure. What are the solfege syllables of those? La, sol. So you start sol, do. It goes la, sol. Do, ti, la. Okay? If you're looking at solfege, you might want to see if there's any jumps or something like that. That would be a good place to kind of refresh. Say, okay, here I'm going to start on do at this jump. That la, sol would be a good place to orient yourself. And so your markers are going to be, of course, D as the tonic do, but A's, those A's and sols, and the F sharps as mi's. Okay, so let's take these off for a minute and turn the group off. So I wanted to give you some melodies so that you just got used to playing the piano, got used to your fingers on there. As I briefly mentioned earlier, for the musicianship final, though, you will play a chord progression using a seventh chord, so let's make sure you know what those seventh chords are. We'll have a handout for you next week, but also major and or minor scales. So there's one major scale, 3 different versions of the minor scale, which you know all what they look like. Now you'll learn how they feel. Only 1 octave. And there are very specific fingerings for scale. So for all these fingerings, remember that thumbs are 1, your pinky fingers are 5. So for a scale, instead of going, or just trying to do weird, there's a very specific fingering for your right hand. It goes 1, 2, 3, and then your thumb tucks under. So start on C, 1, 2, 3 on E, then your thumb will tuck under for F, all the way up to C. Your third finger comes over, so like that. Try that tuck under thing. Same thing with your left hand. You're going to go down. It tucks under like that. When you come up, your third finger and your thumb. So these handouts have the fingerings. All but one of the scales have the same fingerings. There's one slightly modified one. For today, just work on at least the C major and all the different A minor scales. Make sure you get those down. And please let me know if you have any questions. That's 2. So. Good question. There are some triads on the midterm. The guitar symbol type of things, like identification. So you have to be able to identify them, but not necessarily do everything on the homework. Yes.
How did you go under your fourth finger?
No. This is my fourth iteration, and it's still wrong. Your C scale is incorrect. Let's take out a pencil and fix it with me. Very good question. The C major scale with your right hand should go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then coming down on the B, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. The E harmonic minor is also incorrect. I think when I fix one thing, it changes other things. They're linked. Huh? All right, so I will get you something better for the E harmonic minor. Just worry about the first page for today. So you all have that correction? So go ahead and practice those. Make sure you can just hear yourself. Can everyone hear themselves? Can you hear other people? Still can. How's that? Very good? All right. Show me your left hand too. There you go. Yes. You got the suck under. So then going forward would be all the way up. So try it all the way up. Yes. That's it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's because it's still part of the incorrect part. So it should be. That should make more sense. Let's try that. Yeah. That's much easier, huh? So that one is written starting down and going up. There you go. Yes. If you want to try 2 octaves, you can challenge yourself as well. Try going down again. On that one. There you go. That's good. Let's end by doing a few of these together so you get used to playing them in a rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Left hand. can practice. You get an online metronome, but it's very smooth. It's not too choppy. So when you're first looking at it, yes, take your time and figure out the exact placement. But then when you're practicing it, make sure it's in a very strict tempo, and that'll help you. Other than that, if you want to practice these more, do come to Chris's office hours here tomorrow, or come to me Thursday. Any other questions? All right, well, have a good week. I will see you Friday. I will be there.